Everyone talks about manifesting like it's a checklist. Think it, feel it, believe it, and boom, your dream life arrives. But here's the truth nobody's telling you. If you're still waiting, still struggling, still wondering why nothing's clicking into place, it's because you've been manifesting completely backwards. Yes, backwards. Most people have been trained to chase outcomes using mental tricks and emotional rituals, thinking that's the path to creation. But the more you try to attract something, the more you confirm you don't have it. You're not manifesting what you want. You're manifesting the process of wanting. Here's what's really happening. Manifestation isn't about pulling something in. It's about removing the version of you that believes it's separate from what's already here. The harder you try, the more you delay. Why? Because trying is rooted in lack. This video is going to flip the whole manifestation model on its head. We're not going to talk about raising your vibration or scripting in a journal like a desperate signal to the universe. We're going deeper. You'll see why most techniques are based on effort, and effort binds you to the illusion that you still need to get there. This isn't about becoming more positive. It's about becoming accurate. Once you see how reality actually responds to identity, not thought, not emotion, not repetition, you'll understand why it hasn't been working and why that's about to change. You're not broken. You've just been taught to build from the outside in. But manifestation was never about attracting. It was always about aligning with what's already yours. Are you ready to stop manifesting from a place of lack and start aligning with what's already yours? If so, type "I am ready" in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to unlock more powerful insights on how to break free from the illusion of effort and tap into your true manifesting power. Let's break the illusion right now. 1. The illusion of forward motion. People think they're moving forward when they're actually walking in place. That sense of chasing, striving, or making progress can look powerful on the outside, but it often hides a deeper truth. You're only reinforcing the idea that you don't have what you want. The moment you feel desire rise up inside you, something subtle but powerful happens. You tell your mind and reality that the thing is not already yours. In that instant, a silent wall is built. It's a wall made of time. You place your desire in the future and begin the journey toward it. But here's the trap. The more real you make the journey, the more distant the outcome becomes. Every step taken under the belief that you're not there yet becomes a quiet confirmation of lack. People often mistake motion for alignment. They stay busy, they hustle, they repeat routines that look productive. But action alone doesn't mean connection. It's easy to confuse movement with meaning. When you act from a place of disconnection, your steps may be loud, but they lead nowhere. The energy behind the action is what carries the signal, and if that energy is rooted in lack, every action, no matter how efficient, just keeps echoing that absence. It's not about how much you do, but what you're doing it from. The trap goes deeper when self-improvement enters the picture. Society teaches us that bettering ourselves is noble, that trying to become more is the path to fulfillment. But if your effort to grow is driven by the belief that you are broken or missing something, then every improvement becomes a quiet reinforcement of that belief. The mind works in echoes. Trying to fix yourself can become a loop that never ends, because the more you work on yourself, the more you confirm that the you right now isn't enough. That same dynamic is what turns chasing goals into a paradox. The harder you chase the outcome, the more unreachable it feels. And that's not just a feeling. It becomes a reality. When your energy is set on not yet, you trap the goal behind a curtain that won't lift. You don't mean to do it, but the chase becomes a form of emotional resistance. You start living from the idea of lack instead of the realization of presence. And every strategy, tool, or system designed to get you there ends up reminding you that you're not there yet. One of the deepest illusions is the belief in timelines. Most people think they are waiting for something to unfold, for a moment to arrive, for a shift to finally happen. But that whole framework is based on the idea that what you want is ahead of you. In truth, that belief keeps it locked away. Time becomes a screen between you and the thing you already have access to. When you keep saying, "It's coming," you delay the moment it can be received. It's like running toward a mirage. It always looks close, but it never gets closer. That belief in the not now is what turns the present into a holding cell. The illusion of forward motion is seductive. It feels like growth. It feels like effort. It looks like commitment. But beneath all of that movement can be the quiet reinforcement of lack, distance, and disconnection. Until that illusion is seen for what it is, the pursuit itself becomes the very thing that keeps the manifestation locked away. 2. The problem with visualization. Imagination is a powerful tool, but when it's used without precision, it can quietly slow everything down. The way most people visualize is by creating a picture in their mind, something vivid, detailed, and desirable. But this process, while it feels like a step forward, can actually reinforce the idea that what is seen is not yet lived. The mind builds a scene to look at, not to live inside of. That gap between seeing and being is subtle, but it changes everything. When the desire is watched like a movie, it becomes something out there, a mental image, not a present reality. And as long as that image stays in front of you, rather than through you, the distance remains. The more often the same scene is played in the mind, the easier it becomes to stay in that state of watching it instead of becoming it. This repetition, which many assume is helping, becomes a quiet habit of staying near the desire without touching it. It creates a loop where you almost feel like it's coming, but not quite. And the more this loop continues, the more it replaces the actual event with a mental rehearsal. It builds a comfort zone in the imagination, where the thing is always soon or almost. This state doesn't allow receiving. It only keeps returning to the preview. Every time the mind runs that scene, something deeper happens. Even if it looks beautiful, the message it sends is subtle. This is not here yet. The subconscious doesn't argue, it listens. It accepts the placement of the desire in the future, and that placement becomes its reality. Even if the picture feels good, even if it brings clarity, it tells the deeper mind that this is not your now. Over time, the scene becomes more familiar than the actual experience, and the desire becomes a constant forward projection. The habit of thinking of it as coming soon makes soon the only place it ever goes. Imagination, when not paired with a shift in self-perception, becomes a form of entertainment. If you picture a new life but still carry the same inner identity, the image becomes a dream instead of a doorway. The scene floats above you like a vision, but it doesn't land. That's because the mind sees no change in who you are, just in what you see. Without that shift, imagination becomes fantasy. The difference between imagining as someone who has and someone who watches is quiet but defining. Pretend always stays pretend, no matter how vivid the details. When a person holds a picture in their mind, it feels like having something. But a picture is not ownership. A scene is not possession. Holding an image is not the same as holding the reality. This is where the trap of imagination can quietly sit, because the mind feels busy, the desire feels clear, and the visual seems strong, but without an internal recognition of, this is mine now. The image is just a frame moment that never comes off the wall. Mental pictures do not equal presence. They are symbols, not substances. They may point to the result, but they are not the result itself. This is the limitation of imagination when it is used as a container rather than a transition. It holds the desire but does not deliver it. It frames the possibility but does not activate the reality. The mechanism of imagination, when used this way, becomes a gallery of futures that never become present, not because they are impossible, but because they are only watched, not lived. 3. The hidden cost of wanting. Wanting feels like a natural part of life. It seems harmless, just a quiet whisper pointing toward something better. But underneath that whisper is a mechanism that subtly confirms lack. The moment the mind enters the state of wanting, it also enters the condition of absence. It silently declares that something is not here. This isn't always obvious because the desire feels alive, but what it's actually doing is placing a label on what's missing. It forms a loop that feeds itself. Every time the mind returns to the thought of what it wants, it strengthens the feeling of not having it. That loop can become so familiar that it blends into daily thought without being noticed. The act of naming something as a desire builds a line between the self and the thing. The label becomes a boundary. When the mind says, I want this, it also says, this is not me. This is not mine. This is separate. That separation may seem like a small technicality, but it becomes a filter through which reality is experienced. The desire becomes something to reach for, rather than something already within reach. And as long as it's reached for, it remains distant. The naming process creates a frame, and that frame traps the experience outside of the present moment. Once the brain accepts that something is separate or missing, it starts to focus its attention on what is lacking. The mental spotlight begins to search for evidence of the gap. It notices the absence instead of the presence. This isn't a matter of mindset, it's structural. The brain forms connections based on repetition, and if the dominant signal is, this is not here, then it builds entire networks around that experience of lack. The brain doesn't just follow thoughts, it builds around them. And when the dominant thought is wanting, the structure of attention forms around what isn't. A desire, no matter how strong, cannot change anything by itself. Without a change in internal structure, how the self is defined, it remains a surface-level wish. If the inner structure still holds the old identity, one that does not match the thing desired, then the wanting floats on top like a bubble. It doesn't integrate or activate anything. There is no access point because the system beneath the desire has not shifted. The wish stands apart from the one wishing, and no bridge is formed between the two. Without this internal shift, the wanting becomes empty repetition. Over time, the state of longing can become strangely satisfying, not because it brings results, but because it creates a familiar rhythm. People become accustomed to wanting, not for the thing itself, but for the feeling it brings. It becomes a habit, a ritual. The mind returns to the wanting as a place of emotional activity and anticipation, and this becomes its own reward. In this way, many become more connected to the feeling of wanting than to the reality of having. The wish becomes a home, even if it never delivers. And because that state of desire is constantly revisited, the person becomes rooted in the experience of reaching, never arriving. The structure of wanting is not neutral. It carries a cost, one that slowly builds over time. It changes how the self is shaped, how the mind filters the world, and how the future is imagined. Wanting is not just a thought. It's a lens, and once it's worn long enough, it becomes hard to see through it clearly. The desire may seem fresh, but the structure it rests on is worn, repeating the same message over and over. Not yet, not now, not yours. 4. Why alignment doesn't mean emotion. Emotions, though often treated as reliable indicators of alignment, can be deceiving in the grand scheme of internal coherence. The idea that feeling good automatically means you're aligned with the flow of reality is a common misconception. Emotions, while powerful and vivid, do not guarantee that your internal state is actually in sync with the world around you. Feeling excited, joyful, or peaceful might make you feel like you're on track, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are aligning with the reality you desire. It's possible to feel positive emotions, yet still be misaligned with what is truly needed for a shift to occur. These emotional states can exist independently of the deeper shifts in structure that align a person with their true direction. Emotions themselves can be misleading, especially when they are remnants of past experiences or old identity patterns. What you feel in the present may not always be a true reflection of where you stand in relation to what you want to experience. It could be that emotions from the past are simply echoing, not originating from the present moment. These echoes can cloud judgment and make it difficult to discern whether you are truly aligned with your desired reality or just revisiting old emotional patterns. Emotions often take on the hue of previous conditions or unresolved past experiences, making them unreliable signals of alignment. They might be more about history than they are about the current trajectory. Alignment is not an emotional experience, it's a deeper internal structure. It's about how your internal mechanisms are positioned in relation to the external world, not how you feel at any given moment. The idea that alignment is emotional comes from a misunderstanding of the true nature of connection to reality. It isn't a fleeting emotional state, but a steady internal positioning, a clear recognition of your place within a greater whole. This internal structure ensures that your actions, thoughts, and experiences reflect the reality you wish to manifest. Emotions are not the blueprint for alignment. They are often just temporary responses to what is happening inside you or around you, not indicators of deeper truths. Sometimes positive emotions can actually act as a cover-up for deeper misalignment. When you experience bursts of excitement or joy, it might feel like everything is in place, but this emotional surge could be masking a fundamental disconnection from your true path or from what is authentically needed to manifest change. These emotions can be distractions that shift focus away from underlying issues or misalignments that haven't been addressed. Just because you feel happy or excited doesn't mean that the internal work that needs to be done has been completed. The emotional high can obscure the need for deeper structural change and can create a false sense of alignment, one that's based solely on fleeting feelings rather than consistent inner positioning. The universe, or reality, does not respond to emotions themselves. It responds to your positioning within it. It mirrors the state you embody, not the temporary emotional states you pass through. The feelings you experience may shift, but the reality you encounter is shaped by who you are on a deeper level. Your internal positioning, your true self, dictates how the world mirrors back to you. Emotions are transient, and while they can be pleasant or uncomfortable, they do not carry the weight of influence that your core alignment does. The response from reality is determined by the alignment of your inner state with your external world, not by the emotions you might experience along the way. Identity, as the only true magnet reality, operates in alignment with your internal configuration, not your intentions or mental goals. The world doesn't mirror your wishes or desires directly. Rather, it reads the blueprint of your identity and reflects that back to you. This blueprint is made up of your self-image, the core beliefs you hold about yourself, and the subconscious assumptions you carry. These elements, often unnoticed, determine how you experience and interact with the world. It's not about trying to align your goals with the external world. It's about ensuring that your internal identity is in sync with the reality you seek to manifest. The external world doesn't respond to your thoughts about what you want. It reacts to who you are at the deepest level. The idea that you attract what you want is a misinterpretation of a deeper truth. You reflect what you are. What you see in your life is a mirror of your current self-image, not a product of your wishes or efforts. The identity you carry within yourself is the true magnet. If you believe you are someone capable of success, growth, and abundance, that identity will draw experiences that align with those beliefs. However, if your sense of self is anchored in limitations, doubt, or unworthiness, then your external reality will continue to reflect those internal beliefs. The process of manifestation isn't about wishing for something outside of yourself. It's about becoming aligned with the version of yourself that already embodies what you seek. The path to transformation doesn't lie in changing yourself into something better, but in recognizing the truth of who you already are. There's no need for constant self-improvement or striving to be someone different. What's required is a shift in awareness, a realization that the qualities, abilities, and attributes you seek to embody are already within you. The misconception that you need to become something better or more deserving can perpetuate a cycle of feeling incomplete or lacking. In reality, you only need to recognize and embrace your true self, shedding the false stories you've been conditioned to believe. You are already aligned with everything you desire. You simply need to recognize that reality. Your identity places a ceiling on what you can manifest. You will always return to what you believe you are capable of. No matter how hard you try or how much you desire a different reality, you cannot manifest beyond the limits set by your self-concept. If your identity is fixed at a certain level, that's where your experiences will remain, regardless of your actions or thoughts. For instance, if you identify as someone who is not deserving of success, any attempts to manifest success will be met with resistance, self-sabotage, or failure. The identity you hold for yourself determines the maximum level of experience you can access in any area of your life. If that identity is not expanded or transformed, the results will always return to the same pattern, reinforcing the belief that you can't go beyond your self-imposed limits. When you desire something that contradicts your core identity, that desire feels foreign and becomes difficult to integrate. The outcome you seek will not stick if it doesn't align with the version of yourself you believe to be true. For example, if you desire wealth but identify with scarcity or lack, the desire for wealth will feel uncomfortable and distant. The reality you seek cannot penetrate the layers of self-limiting beliefs, and the manifestation will be rejected at a subconscious level. It's not about simply wanting something different. It's about adjusting the inner identity to make space for the new reality. When the desired outcome doesn't match your internal self-concept, it becomes difficult, if not impossible, to manifest it. The key to consistent manifestation is aligning your self-image with the life you want to create. Once your identity shifts to reflect that possibility, the external reality will naturally adjust to match that new alignment. 6. The reverse mechanism of creation manifestation operates in reverse, which is a concept that challenges traditional understandings of how things come into being. The common belief is that you move from the present moment toward the desired outcome. However, true manifestation works differently. It starts from the end result and moves backward, which means the outcome is already in place before the steps leading to it appear. Rather than focusing on the journey toward the goal, manifestation begins by aligning with the outcome itself. Once this alignment is made, the path to that outcome unfolds naturally, as if the process of reaching the goal is simply a consequence of recognizing that it is already here. This reverse sequence creates a flow where the end defines the beginning rather than the other way around. Outcomes don't arrive in the traditional sense. They are revealed. This shift in perspective is crucial to understanding how reality operates. The world doesn't deliver what you want or hope for. Instead, it uncovers what you have already matched. Everything that shows up in your experience is a reflection of your internal state. Therefore, the manifestation isn't about pulling something from the outside world toward you. It's about revealing what already exists and has been matched by your internal energy or positioning. This means that everything you experience is a mirror of what you've already aligned with, and the sense of arrival is an illusion, as the outcome is already there. It just needs to be revealed through alignment. The present moment is not the beginning of manifestation. It is, in fact, an echo of past identity positioning. What you experience in the here and now is the result of the choices, beliefs, and actions you've taken in the past. Every moment you are experiencing is a reflection of previous identity constructs that have already set the stage for the current reality. The outcomes you are living now are the effects of past internal configurations. The present moment, therefore, is not where manifestation begins. It is the culmination of everything that has come before. To truly understand manifestation, it's essential to recognize that what you're living today is the echo of your previous self, not the starting point of what's to come. The key to manifestation is beginning where it ends. This means you must start from the place of it's done rather than it's coming. The future is not something that is waiting to arrive. It's already here in potential form. If you align with the end result first, you're able to bypass the typical forward-thinking process. Instead of waiting for things to unfold, you recognize that the outcome has already been set. By starting with the knowing that the desired result is already achieved, you activate the necessary steps to reveal it. The shift in approach is subtle but powerful. Instead of striving towards something, you start by acknowledging that it is already in your reality, and everything else follows naturally. Creation is not about building or constructing something from scratch. It is about recognition. Manifestation is the act of remembering your alignment with what you truly want, rather than attempting to create something new. It's not a process of adding things into your life, but of realizing and recognizing what already belongs there. This is the essence of reverse sequencing, understanding that the desire, the goal, or the outcome is not something that needs to be created, but something that needs to be recognized. It's already aligned with your true essence. All that remains is for you to recognize and accept that alignment, allowing the manifestation to naturally emerge. 7. The myth of external feedback. Reality doesn't confirm you, it copies you. This is a fundamental shift in understanding how the external world interacts with you. Many people wait for confirmation from the outside before they feel secure in their beliefs or desires, believing that once the universe shows them proof, then they can be certain. However, this approach keeps you in a reactive state, waiting for signs or signals to validate what you already know. The truth is, reality mirrors your internal state. It doesn't confirm your desires or actions. It simply reflects them back to you. If you are waiting for external feedback to confirm your direction, you remain in a passive position, and your power lies elsewhere within you. The feedback you receive from reality is a direct reflection of what you are already projecting. Signs are often reactions, not messages. There is a common belief that signs, whether in the form of synchronicities or other external phenomena, are messages guiding you along the right path. But in reality, these signs are merely reactions to your internal state. What you perceive as a message is simply a reflection of your current energy and mindset. These so-called signs are not mystical indicators of your future or decisions. They are simply reflections of your present state of being. If your thoughts and beliefs are aligned with a certain outcome, the signs you see will reflect that alignment. However, they are not providing new or outside information. They are mirroring what is already within you. To rely on these signs for direction is to misunderstand their true nature and to misinterpret them as prophecies rather than reactions. External feedback always lags behind internal shifts. The gap between what you internally align with and what reality presents is often noticeable. By the time the external world shows you evidence of a change, it has already been true on an internal level for some time. External feedback is slow to catch up with the changes happening within you. This means that waiting for external validation of your internal shifts often delays your recognition of the changes that have already taken place. In other words, the reality you experience is an echo of your internal state. And by the time you see it reflected outside, the alignment or shift has already happened on a deeper level. If you are looking to the outside world for confirmation, you may miss the subtle but important shifts that have already taken place internally. Needing validation only reinforces doubt. When you seek signs or external confirmation, you are inadvertently affirming that you are uncertain. The act of needing a sign to validate your path or choices suggests a lack of inner conviction. If you were fully aligned with your internal truth, there would be no need for external validation because your own internal knowing would be sufficient. The desire for external feedback becomes a cycle that keeps you in a state of uncertainty. Rather than trusting yourself and your inner guidance, you continue to seek reassurance from the world around you. This process reinforces doubt, as you are essentially saying, "I am not certain until the outside world tells me so." The need for validation from external sources becomes a distraction from the real power within you, which is your own internal alignment and trust. What you interpret shapes what you receive. The way you make meaning of the world around you directly influences what you experience. Every piece of feedback you receive from reality is filtered through your own perceptions and interpretations. These filters are shaped by your beliefs, past experiences, and current state of mind. The reality you see is not necessarily the objective truth, but rather the version of reality that you create through your interpretation of it. If you see the world through a lens of lack or doubt, you will interpret external feedback as confirming that lack or doubt. Similarly, if you interpret reality from a place of abundance and confidence, your feedback will reflect that perspective. The meaning you assign to the feedback you receive from the outside world is what shapes the way you experience it, ultimately influencing your continued alignment with your internal state. The world doesn't give you feedback as an objective reality. It gives you feedback filtered through your perception. 8. Flipping the inner switch manifestation begins when doubt ends. The moment you let go of doubt, the process of manifestation starts. Doubt is the barrier that keeps you in a state of waiting. It acts as the roadblock that prevents you from fully embracing your power. The reason most people feel like they are struggling to manifest is that they are still filled with uncertainty, wondering if it will happen or not. This hesitation, even if subtle, prevents the full flow of creation. When doubt dissolves, the energy needed to bring forth what you desire is able to flow freely. Doubt holds the vibration of not yet or maybe, while certainty holds the vibration of now. When you no longer doubt, manifestation becomes inevitable because you no longer question your ability to bring it into existence. The shift from uncertainty to certainty is the beginning of true manifestation, and without that switch, the process remains incomplete. A single shift in self-location changes everything. Manifestation is not about adding more effort or pushing harder. It is about repositioning your internal state. The idea of moving from one place to another is often externalized in the mind, but the real movement is internal. It's not about achieving or acquiring. It's about shifting your sense of where you stand in relation to your desires. When you alter your internal point of reference, everything outside you shifts to reflect this new position. It's like changing your stance on a map. You don't physically move the world, but your experience of it changes drastically. This internal repositioning is subtle, but powerful. It's about realizing that you are not separate from your desires, but inherently aligned with them. When you shift your inner location, the external world mirrors that shift, and things begin to fall into place effortlessly. You must become the authority, not the receiver. Many people approach manifestation as if they are waiting for something to be given to them. They stand in the position of the receiver, passively hoping for the universe to deliver. However, true manifestation is an active process of declaration. You are not waiting to receive. You are claiming what is already yours. The shift into authority is recognizing that you are the one who determines what is possible, not the external world. Instead of asking, "When will it come?" you declare, "It is already here." This internal declaration establishes your dominion over your own experience. You become the creator, not the passive receiver, and in this position of power, manifestation follows naturally. This doesn't mean forcing anything or manipulating circumstances. It means owning the truth that you are the source of everything you need, and you no longer have to wait for anything to be delivered. Certainty precedes visibility. When it comes to manifestation, the most crucial element is certainty. This certainty is not dependent on external validation or visible results. In fact, results are a reflection of certainty, not the cause of it. The moment you truly embody the knowing that what you desire is already yours, reality begins to align. The visibility of your manifestation, the moment it shows up in your experience, follows the certainty of your inner state. You do not need to wait for things to happen before you believe they are possible. Instead, you must believe it first. without needing any proof. This inner certainty becomes the foundation for the outer results. What you believe to be true, without any doubt or second guessing, will eventually manifest. The outer world doesn't change because you see results. It changes because you first embodied the truth of what you wanted. Manifestation feels boring when it's real. When manifestation is truly aligned with your inner being, it ceases to be an event or an exciting breakthrough. It simply is. This is because once you have fully integrated the truth of your desires, there is no sense of effort or struggle involved. It no longer feels like something you are trying to make happen because you've already accepted it as a natural part of your reality. This is why manifestation, when it is fully aligned, can feel almost uneventful. There is no drama or thrill, no rush of excitement, just the quiet confidence that what you desire is already here. This is the ultimate state of manifestation, when it feels so natural and effortless that it no longer feels like an event to be celebrated. It's not about the rush of achieving, it's about the peace of knowing. In the journey of manifestation, we've uncovered that true power lies in letting go of doubt, aligning with our true identity, and understanding that the process unfolds in reverse. When we stop seeking external validation and shift our inner positioning, we activate the flow of creation. Manifestation isn't about chasing or waiting for something to happen. It's about recognizing what already is. The key to unlocking this flow is certainty and a subtle inner shift that makes everything align naturally. Now it's your turn. Like this video, and it happens. When you like, you affirm that this understanding resonates with you and aligns with your own inner truth. Share it, and it happens. When you share, you spread the knowledge, amplifying its energy and allowing it to reach others who are ready for this shift. Subscribe, and it happens. Subscribing means you're ready for more, reinforcing your commitment to living in alignment with your true potential. So, like, share, and subscribe, because when you do, the universe mirrors back what you are putting out there.